Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
In the year 247, in the age of judges, Vartan was summoned home after the death of his father. Upon his return, Vartan discovered something evil festering beneath the city of Eterno. With the help of some very unlikely allies, Vartan works to uncover the mysteries of his hometown and put an end to the nightmares that plague his people. Welcome to Ethereal Embrace. Hey, that's me, Vartan. Hopefully this plan works out with the precautions we're taking. I'm glad we got this food pack. Don't think we'll get much time to stop. I wonder if Timorin has some of that watermelon wine to go with it.
Day 3. Alright, so you make your way down next to the field and you get to Timorin's. You actually see him outside with some of the farmhands working on making repairs to the farm. Not only to some of the equipment that got ruined, but it looks like they're actually rebuilding some of the actual platforms, the guard platforms that got ruined as well. So it looks like they are beefing up security again. And he sees you and he says, Vartan, if my eyes don't deceive me, it's very good to have you back on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
Please, head this way. And he nods toward the house.
Yeah, sorry, Timorin, I hadn't been able to make it this way with everything going on.
No problem. No problem at all, son. Go ahead. Come on this way.
After you. To Moragan and Baya.
Do you have any more of that watermelon wine?
Ooh. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I'll get us a couple glasses. He goes to get the glasses, and then you notice he shuts up the house, which is something you've never seen him do. So not just like the screened-in door that he's got, but he actually shuts up the hard wooden door that would only typically be closed at night, like when he was going to bed. Both the front, then the back door, and then he closes one of the windows, and then grabs a pitcher of watermelon wine.
I'm very skeptically saying this. What's going on?
He looks suspiciously at Dove Moragan and says, I don't know if your friend here should be privy to what I have to report to you.
She'll be alright. Oh, we've already checked her out. She'll be alright.
Does she know the nature of Eterno?
Me and Morgan can go for a walk.
Can we? I thought you needed to talk to this gentleman.
No, Vartan will stay here, and you and I can go down looking at the crops. Just go for a little walk while they have a catch up.
Yeah, take some watermelon wine with you.
Do you like ice in your wine, Moragan?
No ice in my wine.
Oh, you gotta try it.
I like it, but we're just gonna head down that way. See, just maybe if we do like a quick lap around the fields. That should be plenty of time, right, Vartan?
Yeah, I think that's plenty
Timber?
of time, yeah.
Where's your fields, Timorin?
There, right outside. I think I might be just as confused as you are, my friend. Vartan, if you say she is safe, maybe we can just be mindful of our dialogue.
Yeah, it's probably best Baya stay here, too.
Unless it poses a direct threat to my mission of making sure that the Robin is safe and assisting with the investigation that I'm in. At least for the moment, I can keep anything quiet without further discussion with the group. I don't have to report everything back immediately.
Vartan and Baya roll an insight roll
Yeah,
on Timorin.
12.
21.
You both know that you don't get along super well with Timorin. He didn't want you to be the third pillar of the city. He didn't want you to know what was going on, and he had reservations about Kyrian. Then the strange letter showing up at your house in a very formal script is really kind of the first, summons he's actually had for you specifically, where he wanted to talk to you. So you think maybe that letter that he wrote in such a formal fashion was done that way because he might be getting a little paranoid. He may have thought that letter would have been intercepted by the doves, and he has some very serious concerns about the doves being in town. But he's willing to still talk to you here, but that's what you pull out of all of the information that you have at this point.
Timorin, you know the murders that are going on.
I've been informed. That's why I wanted to talk to you.
We know for a fact that Moragan is not involved in those murders. So if it involves those murders, then you're free to talk about it.
All right, Vartan. I have some questions, and I'm hoping maybe you can enlighten me.
All right.
But first, these murders only apparently are happening on your properties. Do you think someone's targeting you now that you're home?
You know what it could be? Maybe it has to do with, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with me. Maybe it has to do with my father being gone.
Do you think more murders will happen on your properties?
I'm hoping that we can stop any more murders from happening, but we know there's more out there. We know they're in the town, and we know they're outside of town. We suspect that there may be about a dozen of them left.
And do you think there's a pattern to these murders, these heinous acts?
Yeah, I believe there is. And we've already discussed it amongst ourselves. We think that there is a cult involved. And so far they murdered the Briars. But the second was not a murder. It was a suicide sacrifice.
Not one of our own?
No, it was one of theirs. And we got rid of 4 of them and have one in custody.
All right, I'll be very clear with you on my perspective on this. Greystone would like to send people out at the village. He thinks they might be attacked in their homes, and we can't figure this out. He thinks that while they're gone, we can protect them and figure out what is going on. Now, I want people to stay home and put out a curfew. And the reason is, despite what Greystone may say, I'm afraid if people leave, the town won't let them come back. The magic that repels people seems to be getting stronger.
Do people often have trouble coming back?
Yes, they do. How long did it take you to get here once you landed on the continent of Isan?
Did seem to take a while. Several days, at least.
You were probably walking around the city in circles.
Well, that's not normal.
Vartan will catch you up, I'm sure. But Vartan, you do understand my concern about the townsfolk. While I do worry for their lives, I'm afraid no one would be left in Eterno, except these cultists.
I definitely see your concern. What do you think, Baya?
I would hate for people to leave their homes and some of them not be able to come back. I think a curfew is a better idea. However, people are being murdered in their house, Timorin. The Briars were killed in their own home, so no matter what time we would have had them stay inside, they would have gotten murdered. The cultists came in from the woods, and no one saw them.
They were killed past curfew.
And the same with somehow the cultist snuck in someone into a home, put blankets up over the windows, and had a sacrifice. So I think if we do a curfew, we need to be very diligent about patrolling the streets. And then what kind of life is that for people?
I see your meaning. I don't like it either. Do we have other options at this point?
How many people live here in Eterno?
I don't know. Do y'all have any other ideas?
I mean, we could do something similar to whenever we were... or what the town was doing whenever the demons were attacking and getting everybody in the same location past dark.
That was kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, we already have Talmika staying in our house with Emery keeping an eye.
Yeah, our house is pretty safe.
I mean, can we set up some temporary shelters on somebody's land and bring everybody there so we can keep everybody as safe as possible while we get to the bottom of this?
Does the Doves have the capacity to... do y'all have a shelter like that?
Well, not
when you travel
here.
Yeah.
No, we stay in inns.
All right. Well, I mean, we had everybody in whose barn was it? Was it in Timorin's barn?
Yeah, you had a good group of people in his house and in his barn.
Okay.
The church as well.
Yeah.
I think we should give people the option. I mean, maybe enforce a curfew, but also, Timorin, maybe we can set up a shelter in your barn for people to, maybe feel a little bit safer, and in the church, and have guards patrolling.
I believe if we decide to go that route, then it's time to tell the townsfolk about the cultist activity here in town.
Yeah.
I think if we don't tell them, they're gonna believe it's the demons coming back. And I can't tell which is worse right now.
Yeah, and I definitely don't agree with Greystone on sending everybody out of town, especially if they can't get back in.
Well, I'll get to work on building a safe place for the townsfolk, and I will put together a town's meeting for later tonight. In the meantime, I had one other request for you, Vartan. Our heroes will be right back after these messages.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, listeners. If you are enjoying the show and would like to take a look at a way to support the cast while getting yourself some nice perks, please consider our Patreon. We offer ad-free listening as well as this entire season if you select the binge tier or higher on our Patreon. Plus, you'll be directly supporting our cast for their work, as our team over at Creative Typo have begun to pay our voice actors for our performances. So check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Creative Typo. I would also like to give a big shout out to our executive producer from Patreon, Nick Mead. Thank you, Mead. We truly appreciate your support. Now, back to the town of Eterno. In the meantime, I had one other request for you, Vartan. I was very close with the Bryars. They were good friends of mine for a very long time. Lifetimes. We don't have a cemetery here. Not anymore. You still have that plot of land up on your property where we buried your dad.
Yeah.
You mind if I have the Bryars buried there?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I have 3 of those scrolls, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull out 2 of the scrolls because I still want one. I only ever wanted one. But I'm going to pull out 2 of the scrolls and be like, here, Emery actually made these for me. I had asked her for one, and she actually made me some extra. This will make burying them easier, and I'll hand it over to him.
Thank you. This is much more than I ever could have asked for. I will see if Bastille can cast these spells, and then we can say a few words. Would tomorrow morning be okay for that?
Yeah, certainly. Make sure to let those that are close to him know to be behind my house in the morning.
I will do. Thank you, Vartan.
Hopefully we could stop anybody else from dying.
Well, that is the goal. That's all I had for you. I don't know if you had anything for me.
Have you ever heard of the children of the dead gods?
With that, he is taken aback. Like, seriously, a blow hits him in the stomach and he lets the air out. Yeah, I have. I made it up.
Hold on, what?
Did you say you made it up?
Yeah. I made up the ideology years ago. It was a fictional story. I wrote it. I wrote it with your mother, Susan.
I think you should fill him in, Vartan.
Alright, so Baya here was able to probe one of the cultist minds, and they said, when asked who was leading them here, they said Susan.
Okay, you hadn't told me that.
So, Timrin, when I was questioning that cultist that we captured, he said that there were at least 11 more of them left within the city and in the woods. He had a tattoo of a moon with 4 dots above it, as did the rest of the cultists. They are killing... They murdered the Briars ritualistically and positioned their bodies in the shape of a rune that I think that we are both familiar with. And he did say that Susan was the leader of the cult.
Roll a persuasion check.
10.
I don't know about any specific runes. Magic was never my forte. Writing was always my passion. I came up with a story about the dead gods, and I worked over that story many, many years ago, before we decided to wipe our minds. Susan, she helped me with some of the finer details, but there's one thing I never wrote. The children of the dead gods were not murderers. They didn't kill people, so that doesn't track. They were seekers of truth and pure innocence. They believed that once they found their closest point to God, the 12 of them would take their own lives like the 12 gods did, and then they would ascend to the great afterlife with the gods to feast at their tables. I never wrote about murder in my stories. I don't like murder.
So, okay, Timrin, your writing didn't have them murdering people, but ritualistically taking their own lives when they got as close to the gods as possible. Do you think that has something to do with our town?
The only connection I have is someone calling themselves Susan. If Susan's dead, then maybe someone is trying to play themselves up as Susan and using our old stories as a way to manipulate people to their own means.
Do you have a copy of your old story?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Forgive my bashfulness. It's been a long time since I let anyone read one of my stories, but I will grab that for you, and I will lend you one of my books. And he walks over to a chest. So he's got a couple bookshelves with books on them, but he walks over to a chest in a corner of the room with some stuff on it and takes some stuff off the chest, opens it up, and pulls out a book. And he brings it over and says, "Here it is, The Children of the Dead God."
I wanted to roll insight on him saying that there was never any murder, but I rolled a 9, so.
So you trust him.
You wrote about the Children of the Dead Gods. Like, I actually heard about them outside of Eterno. It's where I learned about them. Do you know anything about the Children of the Deep?
Yes, I do.
What do you know about them?
They were a cult that tried to contact the Elder Gods. We are in a cluster of realms, kind of like a pack of 13. There are 13 realms that touch a center point, and in each cluster is one center point. We are the center point of 13 realms, and part of that is the realm of the Elder Gods. The Children of the Deep, I believe, worshipped an entity called Cthulhu. They felt that they could contact him and feel his power on this side of the abyss, of the ethereal plane. What I recognize of these people is that they use magic, dark magic. And Cthulhu is not a god to be trifled with. So, in their attempts to touch the outer planes, he has continued to sow chaos, sometimes empowering his servants, and other times destroying them. what I do know of Cthulhu is he forever has one champion in this world. Someone who holds his truth in them. And that's a dark, dark person. Someone I hope is on the far side of Euphrates. Far away from here.
Yeah, me too. And that's not part of your fiction. That's the real deal.
That is the real deal. Cthulhu is a god who has a presence on this realm. All of the Mighty 12 have a presence on this realm, from what I understand.
All right. Well, back to the children of the dead gods. So my knowledge is Susan left and just never returned. There's no proof that she died. There was never any letters sent back to Eterno, I'm guessing. Did you ever receive a letter from... I mean, obviously you were close with Susan. Did you ever receive a letter from her whenever... or any information about her after she left?
No. No, I did not. In fact, I find it hard to believe that your mother would willingly leave and never come back to see her son.
Susan is your mother.
Yeah, if it's the same Susan.
A potential cult leader is your mother.
Vartan, I told you not to bring the dove into the house, and this is what I was meaning.
I haven't seen my mother since I was a small child.
Well, I'm going to put this out there. People are dying on your property.
Yep.
Seems like there might be a link.
Well, to be fair, Vartan does own a lot of property. More than anyone else in the town, so if somebody was going to die on somebody's property, it's more likely going to be Vartan's.
I will also point out that I inherited all this property 14 days ago.
Yep, okay. I didn't say you knew what was going on. But I think there might be a link here, and I don't know, maybe it...
I mean, that's why I felt like it was the right time to bring it up. I mean, we trust you at this point, and we're going on your word that you're not going to relay...
I have questions. I have many, many questions.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Ethereal Embrace, a creative Typo production. Vartan the Furbog Fighter is voiced and played by Adam Culbertson. Baya Rustin, the half-elf sorcerer, is voiced and played by Tisha. Moragan, the human monk, is voiced and played by Nari Kwak. And I am Nico, your GM. Please remember to drop us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcatcher. Music provided in part by Midnight Syndicate, makers of the original Dungeons & Dragons soundtrack. If you would like to support our show or any of our other shows, you can join our family of patrons at patreon.com/creative typo. Remember, be safe, we love you all, and stay foolish.